talks with over 20 hours of video. The first day of the summit is dedicated to creating the best possible version of online course. So we have talks about content creation, how you can make engaging online courses. And the second day of the summit is dedicated to how you can sell your online courses most effectively. So we have some of the best marketers giving you tips and tricks and showing you the tools that they use every day in order to be successful in the online course space. We have two amazing speakers with us today. The first today, the keynote speech is going to be delivered by Guy Kawasaki, one of the original internet pioneers, a guy that has seen it all, and I'm really looking forward to see what he will have for us today and about the future of online business and some of the stories that he will definitely share with us. And the second day of the summit, we're going to have Neil Patel, one of the top internet marketing gurus out there today, and he will be giving us some very precise and very specific tips on how you can drive tons of qualified traffic to your online course. So make sure you sign up for all the sessions that you feel interested in on our schedule. Even if you cannot attend the summit online, we will give you then later access to the recording. So make sure that you sign up for all the talks that are of interest to your project. Couple other things, we will have some amazing course creators, people that actually went through the steps and started with 0 customers and now have some online schools with multiple dozens of thousands of customers. And also we will be delivering some master classes by LearnWorld staff. We will show you some of the new features that we're bringing to the platform and how you can use them effectively and create amazing looking online courses, but also effective online courses that bring back the sales. Also make sure to share the event in social media so that you can qualify for a $500 giveaway, some money that will help you create your very first home video studio and record your own online courses. So let's see, why are we doing that and how we came about with the idea of the summit and what's the purpose of this summit. So obviously, the biggest event in this year and probably the biggest event of the century is COVID-19. So that's a huge crisis. But what we were seeing as we were going through the crisis ourselves as a business is that COVID-19 doesn't so much create drastic changes, but it accelerates trends that were already happening. And this is especially true when it comes to online learning. So online learning is one of the very few industries that got positively affected by COVID. And let's see what were the trends already in the previous years and how COVID catalyzed those trends and really accelerated all those trends. So once we started thinking about COVID in a more cool way and clear-headed way, we saw that the trends were already there. So location independence, like being able to work remotely or being a nomad worker or being able to travel and work at the same time, isn't something new. That's something that was already happening, and some people were having this kind of experience every day. That was that was how they lived their lives and how they worked. Also, the quest for being financially independent so that you don't have to depend on a salary job, but instead you get side income and you create your own jobs and you create your own projects. This is already a trend that was there. So people trying to get out of the grind and get out of traditional jobs and being able to control their own destiny and be independent. Also time independence so that you don't have to work 9 to 5. And that you can create passive income, something that works for you 24/7 and compounds and brings you financial independence as soon as possible. And people trying to achieve that way earlier than usually when they would go into pension. And also another thing that we were seeing already is all business being online. So talking about online business, it's something that really doesn't make too much sense anymore. Already businesses were going online, banking was going online, commerce was going online, and learning was going online. That's something that was already happening. The total size of the e-learning industry was already projected to grow to $325 billion by 2025. But under COVID, this numbers have already started growing, and I'm hearing now about $375 billion or $400 billion, but I'm sure that reality will give even bigger numbers than what we were expecting. And when it comes to education, there were some other trends that were already there. One thing that we were seeing is the decline of traditional academia. We're definitely not anti-university. The whole team of Learnables comes out of the university. We are researchers. We are 3 co-founders. 2 of us have PhDs in educational technology. We've worked in the academia. But we also understand, and big businesses understand, and also students themselves and graduates understand that in some cases, university and a university degree is not the solution to the problem. We see the huge issue of student debt, especially in the US, and lots of young people really think very, very hard whether it makes sense to go into dozens of thousands of dollars or euros debt in order to get a degree, which they will probably not, it will not be easy to cash out or to use in the actual job market. This is something that was already happening, and people trying to find alternative ways. Obviously now with COVID, higher education has been very badly hit. This semester alone, thousands upon thousands of students have decided to skip this semester because it's not safe, and universities are not working under ideal conditions, but also they have to see whether it makes sense for them financially and in the long term. So that was something that was already happening, but now it has been obviously stressed even more by the onset of this pandemic. Also, what we were seeing was a transition to a skills-based economy. In many cases, businesses were trying to find highly skilled employees that they couldn't get out of the academia. So they had to train them and retrain them just for the very narrow and very specific and very high-end skills that they needed. So we had mini degrees, and we had credentials, and we had companies that were like Google doing in Coursera, companies doing their own training and trying to get some of the best people that were completing this training and try to get them into actual jobs. So a university degree is not always necessary. Instead, there are other ways, more agile ways and more lean ways to showcase that you have the skills, and the market will find you and utilize the skills that you have. So this is something that was already happening, and we'll probably see more of that in the near future. Another thing that we were already seeing is the consumerization of education. So more and more people investing more and more time and spending more and more money in order to get trained or retrained, either for high-end subjects like university or higher education or schooling for in order to get into academia, homeschooling, whatever. But also lots and lots of people invest lots of money into lifestyle courses and things that they need in order to improve themselves and feel better, from yoga or how to learn to play a musical instrument or how to learn to do some hobby. Lots of people spending lots of time and money, investing lots of time and money in this kind of soft skills. Already in China, 2.5% of the GDP is spent on technology-assisted education. This is a huge amount. We're talking about 2.5% of China's GDP. The equivalent number for the US is about 2%, but already there's growth in there. So as you can imagine, a huge chunk of the economy is going towards e-learning and technology-assisted education. And another thing that we are seeing is direct-to-consumer retail e-learning. Again, in order to get your micro skills, in order to get your training for fitness, for yoga, for playing tennis, or whatever else you want to do, you don't go to a traditional educational institution. Instead, there are some huge businesses, some businesses that are valued into hundreds of thousands of dollars, even billions of dollars, that provide just that, vertical education in a very narrow field, which can be sports, it can be it can be finance, it can be programming, it can be marketing or anything else. And we're also seeing a revival of MOOCs. Even MOOCs have started again positioning themselves in a very central way, being able to transfer online knowledge from the creators of knowledge to those that request and need this knowledge. And we also have some huge marketplaces like Masterclass, which combine education with entertainment. So effectively this is edutainment, and where people sign up and pay in order to get access to celebrity trainers that teach them part of what they know, but also they spend some quality time online. So those trends were already there, but now we see that they have really skyrocketed with the effects of the pandemic. So effectively COVID has been the perfect storm for e-learning. Overnight, all learning was remote. As you can imagine, this is something that we saw very, very clearly in the middle of February, when lockdown started being affected. So effectively, if you weren't able to do your training online, you weren't able to do any training at all. So students couldn't reach their teachers, teachers couldn't reach their customers, consultants or coaches couldn't reach their trainees. So everything had to be done online. And in many cases, people started doing what we call emergency remote training. So they were trying to find ways to make do and get in contact with their students. They started using Skype, they started using Zoom, they started using the telephone, whatever they had. But obviously, these were the initial responses, and unscalable probably responses, and now people are trying to settle into a more well thought out business model, to set out to use some platforms to automate these processes and to be able to scale. And this is something that again we saw with lots of trainers that always thought that online business and online teaching is a nice idea, nice to have, but they had never thought about this as being their major thing. And overnight they became converted. And once they became converted, they realized that it's the possibilities of e-learning. Because right now, as an online trainer, as a traditional trainer where you teach in your community, in your neighborhood, in your town, you are constrained by the amount of time you have every week. Like how many hours per week can you teach? Like 40 or 50 hours? And also you are constrained by the amount of people that can physically reach you in a classroom, in an amphitheater, in a fitness salon, whatever. But going online allows you to create a business that works 24/7 at a global scale. So this is something that really people started thinking, and this is where really the knowledge economy has a great advantage, because you can scale this thing very, very fast. You can create an online course once and you can sell it thousands of times, and you can have an online school that sells for you 24/7 across the globe. That's something that really scales very, very fast, and this is also the interest. And this is also why online training is much more interesting to set up than e-commerce, and much more cost effective, because in e-commerce you need to have a physical product which you need to ship, and sometimes even Amazon cannot ship your products. But what you can do with an online course, just you can sit in front of a computer, record your teaching, put your knowledge into an online video, into an ebook, and this is a digital product that you can sell 24/7 to the entire globe. So over these past few months, we saw that habits were changing, and perhaps habits are changing forever, because this is now going on for quite some time. We really hope that COVID will disappear, will go away, that science will do its work, and we will have the vaccines and everything that we need. But the truth is that this is already happening for so many months, and there will be lots of after effects, and the economy will have to transition and have to adapt and use e-commerce and online learning even more. So we are already seeing over this past year a huge increase in online shopping. More and more people are going online. Right now in the US, about 61% of consumers prefer to shop online, and also they prefer to shop from smaller businesses increasingly. So not just going to the big guys, but trying to sell smaller businesses. So if you're thinking about whether you as a lone trainer or as a small training business can really stand out from the crowd and go against Masterclass and all those huge guys, yes, you can, because this is also the tendency of all commerce and all e-commerce. Instead of going just to the big guys, the small guys can create independent brands and put their brand out there. And if they have something useful to say, a useful piece of knowledge to share, then this is something that you can also use yourself. And effectively, this year's Black Friday could be a totally digital experience with people only purchasing online if things continue to be as difficult as they are now with the COVID and the lockdowns. Another effect we are seeing, and we totally believe that it will continue, is counter-urbanization and decentralization. As we mentioned, people were already trying to work remotely, and now increasingly they're fleeing big cities because of housing costs, but also because of safety issues and because they want to take control over their lives and increasingly go to work in smaller communities, smaller cities, and that's happening in the US, it's happening in Europe, it's happening everywhere. So this will continue, and it will only increase the demand for remote training and remote working and remote services. So what we do here, what we enable with online courses, will continue to be highly sought after. And also businesses have to adapt, have to be cash efficient, and have to be very, very constrained with the resources that they use. And e-learning is one of the best ways to do that when it comes to education. So instead, if you want to train your people, if you want to train your customers, if you want to train your employees, instead of stopping everything and ferrying everybody into a hotel and having everybody sit there for a few hours of training, you can deliver the same training online at a fraction of the cost and without any significant loss in quality. In fact, in many, many cases, via online training, you can have amazing results and you can have some great evidence of what's happening, and you will be able to improve on your training and to get better results out of your training. Also, we are seeing this disruption happening at all levels of education. It's not just online courses for professionals or for grown-ups. We see that happening in kindergarten. We see that happening in primary schools. We see increasingly people try to transition into virtual experiences because in many cases you are not able to go out and do things. We all want this to go away, but still, if somebody, even after COVID, even after all this goes away, we know that we will be able to still have some great quality time online and spend some great experiences online, even if we are living in a totally different city or at the far end of the world. And especially this disruption happens at the professional level, where we're talking about continuing professional education and lifelong learning, because the market now, and this is something that we saw to a certain degree with the previous economic crisis in 2008 and 2010 in Europe, the jobs that people need are not out there, so the jobs have to be created. And in many cases, people will have to create their own jobs and will have to set up their own projects and do their own gigs and in order to be able to get the resources they need. So in many cases, they will have to be retrained and retooled and see what are the new things that are being requested in the market in order to be able to be successful. So and this is something that will continue in an accelerated pace. We're living in the knowledge economy, and we will have, until we will be lucky at some point to get a pension or something, we will have to be trained and retrained multiple times in order to adapt to new jobs. This is something that was already happening, and we, especially amidst this crisis, it will accelerate. So this is why online learning is super relevant. The future of learning is online. This is something that we were already believing in. That's why LearnWorlds was set up, in order to help people create their own worlds of learning and be able to profit from their knowledge and be able to share their knowledge far and wide and be able to create some amazing, successful business models on top of this. So the future of learning is online, and this summit is dedicated to helping you capture this future of learning and future of business and use it to your own benefit. So that's why we managed to get some amazing experts, some great people. I'm very excited that my team was able to bring some of those people today. It's not only Guy Kawasaki, it's not only Neil Patel, but all the talks are handpicked to provide some amazing results and some amazing knowledge to you. So check out what we have to offer. All the talks will be recorded, so even if you cannot use something now, you will be able to return to it in a few months and learn the actual tricks that you need for a particular thing and solve your problems. So we will be here as a team throughout the summit to help you out, and also LearnWorlds is dedicated to your success, so make sure to check out our website, check out the free resources that we have on our academy at academy.learnworlds.com, and we will be here to help you out, make the most out of online learning. So stay safe everybody and enjoy the Worlds of Learning Summit. Hi.